Once upon a time, in the heart of the Whispering Woods, there lay a hidden paradise known as the Golden Meadow. It was a place where the sunlight tasted like honey and the flowers bloomed in every color of the rainbow. In the center of this meadow stood the great oak, home to the Royal Hive. Inside lived a bustling community of bees, led by the wise and gentle Queen Arabella. Amongst the thousands of bees, there was one who was smaller than the rest. His name was Barnaby. Barnaby was not the fastest flyer, nor was he the strongest. His stripes were a bit crooked, and his wings made a quiet fierce sound instead of a loud buzz. While the other young bees played tag in the snapdragons, Barnaby was always working. He polished the honeycomb cells until they sparkled and swept the pollen dust from the hive's doorstep. "Why do you work so hard, little Barnaby?" asked Pierre, a large, pompous bumblebee with a thick French accent. Pierre was very strong but rather lazy, often napping inside tulips. "Work can wait, mon ami. The sun is shining. The hive needs to be ready," Barnaby would reply softly, adjusting his tiny spectacles. "Hard work makes a happy home." One summer, a terrible heat wave struck the Golden Meadow. The sun glared down angrily, turning the lush green grass to straw. The flowers began to droop, their nectar drying up. The bees grew weak. Even the strongest guards could barely lift their wings. Queen Arabella summoned the colony. Her voice was faint. "My dear subjects," she whispered from her throne. "The great drought is upon us. Our stores are empty. There is only one hope. High atop the jagged peak of the Misty Mountain blooms the legendary Star-Lotus. Its nectar is so powerful that a single drop can restore life to our entire meadow. But the journey is perilous." A silence fell over the hive. The Misty Mountain was miles away, surrounded by sharp winds and thick fog. "I shall go," boomed Pierre, puffing out his fuzzy chest. "I am the strongest." "And I shall go," fluttered Hana, a beautiful, elegant butterfly from Japan who was visiting the court. "I am the fastest." "I will go too," squeaked Barnaby from the back of the room. Pierre laughed heartily. "You, little Barnaby? The wind will blow you away like a dandelion seed." But the queen nodded gravely. "Go, all of you. Bring back the nectar." The three travelers set off. At first, Hana the butterfly took the lead. She danced on the wind, flying high and fast. "Catch me if you can," she giggled. But as they reached the foothills of the mountain, the air grew thin and cold. The gentle breeze turned into a fierce gale. Hana, whose wings were made for dancing in gardens, could not fight the strong winds. Exhausted, she had to land on a rock. I cannot go on," she panted. "It is too much work." Next, Pierre took the lead. He used his brute strength to push through the wind. Zoom! Zoom! He flew with power. But soon, they reached the thistle thicket, a wall of sharp, thorny bushes blocking the path. Pierre tried to smash through, but the thorns were too thick. He got angry and frustrated. "This is impossible," Pierre grumbled, rubbing a sore spot on his head. "It is too difficult. I am going to nap until the wind changes." Barnaby looked at his friends. He was tired too. His tiny wings ached, and his legs felt heavy. But he thought of Queen Arabella and the hungry baby bees back home. "I cannot stop," Barnaby whispered to himself. He didn't try to fly over the wind like Hana, and he didn't try to smash the thorns like Pierre. Instead, he used his diligence. He landed on the ground and began to crawl. Step by step. Left, right, left, right. He found tiny gaps in the thorns. He moved a twig here, pushed a leaf there. It took hours. His little legs were scratched, and he was covered in dust. But he didn't stop. Finally, he emerged on the other side of the thicket. Now, only the steep climb remained. The air was freezing. Barnaby's wings were stiff with frost. Buzz, fizz, buzz, he pushed himself. When he felt he couldn't fly another inch, he remembered the motto he hummed while cleaning the hive: "Step by step, the job gets done." He didn't look at the top of the mountain, that was too scary. He just looked at the next rock. Then the next. As the moon rose, Barnaby pulled himself over the final ledge. There, glowing with a soft, silver light, was the Star-Lotus. It was magnificent. But the flower was closed tight. "Please," Barnaby wheezed. "Open." A deep, ancient voice echoed from the flower. "I only open for the one who proves their worth. Strength did not reach me. Speed did not reach me. What do you offer, little one?" "I have nothing," Barnaby said honestly, bowing his head. "Only my effort. I walked when I couldn't fly. I crawled when I couldn't walk. I just kept working." The Star-Lotus glowed brighter. Diligence, the flower boomed gently. The rarest magic of all. Slowly, the silver petals unfolded. In the center lay a single, heavy drop of golden nectar, shining like a star. Barnaby carefully gathered the heavy drop into his satchel. The journey down was even harder than the journey up. The nectar was heavy, weighing him down. He passed Pierre, who was still sleeping, and Hana, who was too cold to move. "Come on," Barnaby said, nudging them. "We go together." Inspired by his determination, Pierre felt ashamed of his laziness. He used his strength to shield Barnaby from the wind. Hana used her knowledge of the currents to guide them through the safest path. But it was Barnaby, the smallest of them all, who carried the heavy burden. When they finally returned to the Golden Meadow, the sun was rising. Barnaby was unrecognizable. He was covered in mud, his spectacles were crooked, and his wings were tattered. He stumbled into the throne room and collapsed, presenting the nectar to the queen. Queen Arabella touched the nectar to the roots of the great oak. Whoosh! A wave of golden magic rippled through the hive. The air turned warm. The flowers outside burst open, brimming with fresh juice. the meadow was saved. Who did this? Asked the bees, looking at the strong Pierre and the fast Hana. Pierre stepped back. It was not me, he said, bowing to the little bee. I had the strength, but he had the heart. It was not me, said Hana. I had the speed, but he had the will. Queen Arabella placed a tiny medal made of a sundrop around Barnaby's neck. Barnaby, she announced, you have taught us that being the biggest or the fastest does not make you a hero. Being the one who never gives up, but is what saves the world. From that day on, Barnaby was no longer just a worker bee. He was the royal keeper of the garden. But even with his new title, if you looked closely, you would still find him polishing the honeycomb or sweeping the dust, because Barnaby knew that the secret to a happy life was doing every job, no matter how small, with all your heart.